Hi, my name is Andrew Crandall, and welcome again to another episode of Journey Through a Lonely Planet. Now, today's episode, I'm going to talk about one of my favorite songs. It's called The Bleeding Within. Now, The Bleeding Within is a very aggressive, very heavy song. And how it started was I wrote this lyrics about a guy who was like recognizing that he had a lot of emotional pain and like the bleeding within, and he couldn't figure out where it came from. And so I originally wrote the lyrics first, and then I, decided to try to make it like kind of an 80s rock originally. I think I was trying to do like a Queensryche type of guitar riff, kind of weird stuff. And it wasn't really working for me. And I kind of got frustrated and I put the song down. So a couple of days later, I was working on my 8-track, and I was like, I recorded like a drum beat, and I was like, I thought to myself, I really want to do like a Black Sabbath tribute song. Basically kind of do that old Dooms kind of vibe that the Black Sabbath is famous for. And so I came up with this riff, and I came up with this kind of a chorus riff for it. And I was sitting there like, this is really cool. And then I'm like, wait a minute. Let me pull out those lyrics from the previous night, or whenever I wrote it, and let me try singing over top of it. And so I did, and it fit perfectly. I was like, holy cow, this is amazing. And so I kind of, put more layer guitars or whatever, and later on I actually record real drums on it. But anyways, I was really, really happy. Like, I married the two ideas together and formed one. So another interesting thing that happened while I was writing this album was that I was actually in a relationship. And in the middle of the writing of this, we broke up. And most of you who have gone through breakups and such know how painful and heart-wrenching they can be. And it was actually one of the most worst times of my life. And so what was interesting about that is that I decided, to pour the emotional pain that I was going through into my music. And what happened was that I began to sing differently. I sang with like a lot more depth and emotion than I had ever sang before. And because before I was kind of like, I had like a good clean voice, but I was singing more poppy, da 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 da. But like when I come to this album in 2001, like I decided to go a different route, and I sang with much more, and this particular song, I should say, I sang with a lot more aggression, and I started using my voice differently. I was like, instead of like the clean stuff, I was going, how can I stop this bleeding within? And it was like eye-opening to me. Like, I had never sung like this before, and it was very exciting. So anyways, so when the rest of the recording I basically did is we eventually got with my friend John Babbitts, and we recorded the drums, one track, live drums in a big warehouse, and he actually introduced some of those ideas like I had, and I opened up with this just one single like power chord of the guitar, and then he came in with this boom 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 boom, and which I duplicated for the current album or the current version. So the basic arrangement for The Bleeding Within was pretty simple. I had one track for the live drums. I had 2 tracks for guitar, and each one had a slightly different tone to make them sound a little bit bigger. I had 1 track for the guitar solo. I had 1 track for bass, and I just recorded the bass direct line. I didn't have any processing or nothing on it. Just strictly bass guitar. Then I had 2, possibly 3 tracks for the vocals. I can't remember, honestly. I know I had 1 for the lead vocal, possibly 1 for the chorus to double it, or maybe it just had the harmony. I know I had a harmony. And harmony kind of sounded very similar to Alice in Chains, Soundgarden-ish. So the basic riff that I wrote for the song was a simple. And I repeated that throughout the verse. And then when I got to the chorus, it was basically a D, C, B minor, A. But what I did is I kind of just... And then what I decided to do with this album, is I wanted to create more musical interest and dynamics. And so I kind of come up with a couple of really cool Metallica type breakdowns. And so it breaks down and goes... On top of that, I would have a wah guitar that I usually was the actual solo guitar, but before the solo started, and just like wah. And then the solo would start.
Cause me so much pain. Where has the blade cut so deep, causing the blood to drain? How can I stop this bleeding within? How can I heal from what I can't find? Where the anger and the bitterness grows, where love is hidden and hate is all I find, this blood is stained.
So the new arrangement for Bleeding Within is pretty much the same as the original, except I have a lot more of what's going on. So again, I'm using Easy Drummer, and this time what I did is I actually gave the Mike Nelson a separate track of the kick drum and the snare along with the full kit, so he can kind of balance it the way he wanted to do. Okay, so with the guitars, I actually did a combination of both old techniques and modern techniques. And what I did is I got a direct box. I actually got an inexpensive Pile direct box, and which allowed me to plug into my guitar, and that actually split the signal, where the signal went to my Black Star amp, which I mic'd, and actually I think I had a distortion pedal. I don't remember which one it was off the top of my head. But then it also split it, and I had a clean signal directly into my audio interface, where basically you had the same performance but yet two different takes. And then what I did is I duplicated the clean take, and one I reamped, which basically I have this ART reamp box, and I sent the signal out from the computer into this my Line 6 floor pod, and then into my guitar amp, and had a completely different tone. And then on top of that, the final clean, I actually added an amp simulator from Easy Mix, which is the same company that creates Easy Drummer, has this new rare program called Easy Mix, and they actually give you a whole bunch of different expansion packs, and basically if you wanted to, it doesn't sound as it sounds pretty good, but it doesn't sound exactly like a mic'd amp, but it sounds really good. But basically you send your direct line in a sense that they copied the signal chain of famous producers. So you can plug your guitar direct line and you actually could get a really good amp sim sound. And so all these layered guitars are actually one single performance copied. And so it creates a much more broader, much heavier tone. Another thing too with the chorus, I actually had several different background vocals and different layers of harmonies. So before I sent out the tracks to Mike Nelson to mix, what I decided to do was I had just recently purchased the Waves Gold bundle of plugins, and in it they had a pitch correction called Waves Tune LT, and I pitch corrected the high and mid harmony of the chorus, but it decided to leave the main chorus melody all by itself. So basically I have 3 vocals singing that main melody, and then I've got 2 of the middle and 2 on the top, and those are been pitch corrected. And so I tried to experiment with the guitar solo. What I did is, after doing the ending of Space, where I did the 5-part harmonies on top of the guitar outro, I did something very similar. I actually got a couple choirs, a couple realistic sounding choirs, female vocals, male vocals from Logic Pro. I actually got, by that time I bought the Contact Complete, and I had a couple packs or third-party plugins that I used. And then also on top I put my own voice, just singing these ahs, while the guitar solo creates this massive choir sound. But actually looking back now, I realized I probably was subconsciously influenced by this old German metal band called Accept. I had bought this a $5 cassette at a discount bin in a local store called Metal Heart, and I was really into heavy metal as a kid. And but what was interesting is, in looking back, is I remember in some of their songs they would actually have an orchestral background during the guitar solos, and it would have choirs singing. Sometimes I think it was a male choir. Yeah, I think they had strings at some point. But I just really was captivated by that sound. So I think I actually tried to, or basically when I did this, I was trying to emulate that type of sound. So again, I hope this has been helpful for you. If you like what I'm doing, please like it, subscribe, hit the bell notification, leave comments. I look forward to hearing from you. And if you are one of those people like that are going right now and going through a difficult time, and you are an artist, this is probably the best time to go and just pour out all the anxiety or whatever you're going through into your art. Because I'll be honest with you, some of the best writing that I've ever done came out of some of the most difficult situations. And you might be surprised. It might actually make you a better artist or even a better person. So, until next time, make the world a better place by using your imagination. Thank you, and God bless.
How can I stop this?